Nutrition for sports performance. We've covered carbohydrates, we've covered proteins. Now let's talk about fats. Fats are essential. They are absolutely essential for performance and shouldn't fall below 20% of your diet. So you should have at least 20% of your diet from fats. Back in the past, fats were often viewed as very negative because remember that we're talking about 7 calories per gram of fat, so people often saw it as really high in calories and should be avoided. It's often neglected by athletes due to those reasons, but fats are essential for hormone production. Fats can reduce inflammation. Think about omega-3 fats, fantastic for reducing inflammation in the body. It contributes to cellular health, particularly cell walls. So our very makeup, we are, involve lipids, which are fats, and they're essential for the makeup of the cells. They are fantastic as a fuel source. So ultramarathon runners need a certain amount of fat stores, because once you run and use up all your glycogen stores, your body creates carbohydrates through gluconeogenesis. You create carbs through fat stores. It's essential for maintaining healthy tissues, vitamin absorption. We want to try and get as much unsaturated good fats as possible rather than saturated fats. When you think about it, you can store about 30,000 calories in fat stores. So you can sort of pull that energy as an athlete if you're going to perform ultra endurance based stuff. But we have to be mindful of the fact that if you have too much fat, that's a lot of calories to consume. But fats do not necessarily make you fat. So we've talked about fats. We're now going to move on to micronutrients, and why it's important to have lots of colour within your diet. So micronutrients are often referred to as vitamins and minerals. Vitamins and minerals come from fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some forms of meat as well. So we need to make sure that when we're looking at our plate, it needs to look really colourful. We need to source our food from a wide variety of sources, preferably organic. So let's look at nutrition and your event. So our daily diet composition. So if we're looking at our rest days compared to our training days, you can see that on our training days we source a little bit more calories from carbohydrates to fuel us pre and post workout. On our rest days, we have a little bit less carbohydrate, but we increase our fat and we increase our protein. The reason why we do that is to again have equal calories, but more from slow releasing, slow glycemic index foods, foods that promote satiety on our rest days as compared to our training days. Carbohydrate requirements. We're back on the carbs. So if we're doing low intensity skill based activities, we're looking to have 3 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of our body weight. If we're looking at a moderate day, so a moderate day's worth of training, so that could be some sprint based stuff, some power based, some strength based stuff, we would look to have 5 grams of carbohydrate per body weight. If we're doing high sort of intensity based activities, like an endurance program, we're exercising between 1 and 3 hours at a moderate intensity, we want to be looking at 6 to 10 grams. Middle distance, shorter end distance events is kind of where we're going to be looking at that. So 6 to 10 grams, if we said 8 grams per kilogram body weight, that's kind of where we're going to be from there. And if we are in, very high intensity, so extreme conditions, think about there's something called the UCAN, which is an ultra marathon through, bitter cold Canadian sort of desert at a relatively high intensity. So long distance events, ultra marathon events, you're looking at up to 12 grams per kilogram of body weight. So when we look at that, if we were to pick someone like again George, you would say 50 kilos, 50 times 10 would be 500. You're looking at maybe 600, 600 plus grams of carbohydrate, in a day if you are, doing very high sort of endurance-based activities. Always remember the rule of three. So we want to get our food sources from starchy carbohydrates, protein, and colourful fruit and vegetables. So each meal should include a balance of these three components. So starchy carbohydrates such as vegetables and sweet potatoes and root vegetables, protein source from meat, it could be soy if you're a vegetarian, and again a very colourful plate of vegetables as well. That's how you get the right amount of carbohydrates, proteins and fats alongside the right amount of micronutrients in order to fuel your activity for that day. So activity number 3, a food diary. I would like you to think back to what you've eaten over the past 3 days, and I want you to record that and think about what you had for breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, evening snack. Be as honest as possible, because this is going to allow us to sort of see how your diet is currently. And then what I would like you to do is then use that time with the information you've learned from this lecture to rewrite how you think your diet should look based on the information in regards to low glycemic index foods, making sure that you're having a colourful plate full of lots of different coloured vegetables, making sure that you're sourcing your meats from organic based sources. I'll leave you there to do that, and then we're going to finish off with our last lecture, and that's going to be about supplementation.